tortured myself in my sleep. Woke up and I pushed through, and I'm just grateful for this. And this is the last one, so I appreciate everybody for this award. Thank you.
This category celebrates the most.
Look. I'm not gonna lie though. I don't know how I feel about the streamer university in terms of, you know, the more and more years that it goes on and on and on. It might be formalized. It might actually literally be like a formal qualification. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm super nervous when things have to get to that part of formality, because if you think about it, you know, because look, I tapped into like the streamer university, for example. I tap into it for like entertainment. I tap into it for just to see how, you know, all these streamers collaborate with one another, just like interact with one another. You know what I'm saying? And you know, for me, that alone could just signify the advancement of this industry, which is streaming. You know what I mean? Because here's a point that I was trying to make in saying I'm nervous for formalization of just, you know, making it a formal qualification for, you know, people to be streamers, like qualified streamers, and, you know, have that maybe be part of the education. Like, that would be worst case scenario anyway. But it's like, why I'm saying I'm nervous for that is because this shit is growing, bro. I was not aware that this is the fifth edition of, you know, streamer awards, bro. I thought this was like the first thing. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to people like a Kai, like a I Show Speed, like you know, these people that are just at the top of the totem pole with this thing. You understand what I'm saying? The people that are the leaders of the game. You know what I mean? Those people, I understand, you know, more than them being, yes, inspirational, or however you might see a Kai or I Show Speed. They are also pawns, right? They have to be pawns. They have to be objects that are being used to grow an industry. I'm not saying that in any negative shade or any negative energy. That statement does not go, you know what I'm saying, with any type of smoke. Because I mean, you have to. It's a good thing to have new industries, bruh. You understand what I'm saying? We live in a very big world that has, you know, more space to advance, bro. And you know, the more and more existing industries, existing structures become obsolete, the more and more there's a need for new industries. You know what I'm saying? That's why I champion the whole streamer thing, bro. Like the streaming thing, I bumped into just like being familiarized with streaming. What? Yeah, like regularly, you know, well, it's the regular situation where, you know, pandemic, you know what I'm saying? The Ovid whole situation, and then obviously everybody's in front of their devices, everybody's in front of the net. That's when I bumped into it, this whole streaming thing. You feel what I mean? And you know, as with everybody else, it's just like something to pass time while we in the crib type thing. And now it's really an industry, bro. There's like awards to this thing. There's like probably charts, right? There's charts to this thing. Maybe like, I wouldn't know. You know what I mean? It's a whole thing where you can literally look at it in the lens, you know, of saying a kid might just choose it as a career path, and the further time goes, it's gonna be a formidable, like as in like a respectable, recognized career path. And now think about it, for the older generation, the people that raised millennials, the people that raised the Gen Zs, those are older people now, maybe in their, you know, maybe 40s, 50s, you know what I'm saying, middle ages, whatever the F, you know what I'm saying. The youngest maybe people to raise Gen Zs might be like late 30s type thing, you know what I'm saying. So they're older, they're not too tapped in with this whole streaming thing. So for them to hear their kid be like, yo, mom, dad, I want to be a streamer, there has to be something that's just like formalized this thing, right? That's a good thing. To me, that's a good thing for it to be recognized, so that parents don't have to be on their kids' ass about like, what do you mean streaming? What do you mean online thing? What do you mean blah blah blah? There's examples like Kai's and Speeds and da da da. You see where I'm going with this. There's these examples where there's these, yo, Grammy-esque. This feels like the Grammys, man. Y'all see everybody dripping this mug. Everybody's just like, you know, clean and all of that. You get things like this where a kid can reference their parents like, look, mom, this thing is mad respected. These people are making mad bag. They making mad bank. You feel me? So obviously for that part it's good, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm very nervous of that because it might reach obsolescence real fast. You understand what I'm saying? It might reach obsolescence real fast. Whereas now people might just want to go at it for the qualification. They'll do away with things like the talent. They'll do away with things like the raw skill. Things like the raw just like heart for this thing. You understand what I'm saying? The very same way that, you know, I believe the education like it became like that. It became just like a regurgitation of just, you know, information that was are just recorded in textbooks and black and white, theoretical, this, that, and the third, and for people to just regurgitate that, make sure that you remember that regurgitation for the test, and then once you pass the test, man, here you go live your life, and you know, the second you get out in the real world, all of that stuff is forgotten. You feel what I'm saying? And for this new emerging, you know, industry, the streaming thing, for it to get to that, it would be, I'm not even gonna say it would be a sad thing or it would be a disappointing thing, because that literally would be history repeating itself, and that's nature. That is nature. You know what I'm saying? I mean, summer literally comes and goes each year. Like, that's the nature of nature. You know what I'm saying? So it would just be an interesting observation to like see it play out in that sense. But then at that moment, it's like, what would this streaming thing mean? Where would that raw, organic, just, you know what I'm saying, that organic love for it, like, what would it mean? You know what I'm saying? What would it mean for you to love this thing, like, for real? That's like that's just like the POV. I'm just, because I'm watching these awards, I didn't watch the whole thing. Like, literally, I just saw the title right here. I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Let's see Kai's wins, right? Let's see, you know, what he won there by the streamer awards. But yo, like just me tapping into this clip right now has just got me thinking about all of that. Because look at the music thing too. In terms of winning a Grammy, like, think about how valuable winning a Grammy is these days. It's damn near not even that valuable anymore, like, if you ask me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Just because of how just, you know, the energy around just music creation, music consumption, music generation, and all of that, and just like, you know, everything that's attached to just like what we deem the best and what we deem the highest on the board, the highest valuable thing about this thing. You know what I'm saying? And how we scale that value. Kind of just look at it with a side eye these days. Be like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, it is what it is.
Entertain.
But the value's just gone, right? Alright, back to it though.
Unique and memorable live events streamed in 2025.
Hey, why is this nigga cheesing like this, bro? For no reason. Is he reading the teleprompter? It must be a teleprompter. Make sure you save everything, please, everybody, this, that, and the third. And then it's like, yo, trying to make sure that everything is in line. And, you know, you gotta Captain Save a Hoe every girl that you meet. It's like, it's, you know, it can get crazy, but...
You no longer resist uncertainty, because you have discovered that peace is not found in control, but in surrender. When you reach this point, life stops feeling like a constant struggle against fate. You begin to trust the unfolding of things, not with blind faith, but with deep knowing born from experience. You might still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. The fear that once dominated your mind has lost its power, because you now recognize it as a passing visitor, not a permanent state. You've realized that emotional turbulence is not a sign of weakness. It's a reminder that you are human, still learning, still expanding. And so you face challenges with grace because you no longer need the illusion of certainty to feel safe. The fifth sign is one that many overlook.
Yo, you know, before we even just like complete these signs, bro, I feel like, yo, you know, even with the conversation of the emotion, you know what I'm saying? Emotion, the emotional intelligence, you know what I'm saying? Emotional stability, this, that, and the third, emotional health, emotional illness, you know, things like that. You know, a whole lot of tough lessons, you know, have shaped the meaning to a whole lot of emotion that I've been feeling. You know what I'm saying? Because especially coming from backgrounds where emotions are not regulated, or it's not a thing for people to, you know, regulate the emotions, be tapped in with the emotions, know what the emotions, you know, are there. Well, I mean, you cannot even know why your emotions are there, why certain emotions pull up at certain moments. You know what I'm saying? You might even mistake certain emotions for others. You know what I mean? Thinking that, yeah, but then, you know what I'm saying? A whole lot of people in circumstances that, you know, I mean, I'm a young black man. You know what I'm saying? Live in Africa. You know what I'm saying? South Africa. You feel me? For that, for, you know, for the record. So it's like living in backgrounds where I had to grow up in the environment that I came up off of, right? It's like the whole fight, flight, freeze, fawn, whatever type things that you develop. You know what I'm saying? It's just like trigger responses, right? Trauma responses, trauma patterns that you end up just like developing instead of associating emotions with certain other things, instead of just like trauma responses. You feel me? Because you know, you could literally confuse what someone else or a situation is trying to show you. You know what I'm saying? Just through how your emotions are just all over the place and cannot be balanced. You feel what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to you going through tough situations. You understand what I'm saying? You might just like learn a wrong lesson. You know what I'm saying? Because I know one thing about me, right? I'm a very, you know, I've got like, you know, hot temperament. You know what I'm saying? You know, a whole lot of people would categorize it like that. You know, get a little hot under the collar, like easily type shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very sensitive soul type shit. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, a whole lot of negative scenarios and situations that I've had to go through have sensitized my system, my nervous system, to a point where it's like certain emotions, you know, are I would override certain emotions. You know what I'm saying? I would have to, just to, you know, get through whatever moment that I've had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Maybe let's say, man, being homeless, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Going away from home for a little, you know, for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just to, you know, find myself out. You know, build my own identity. But being so young to a point where like I did not have the skill to do that. But then, you know what I mean? Once I had to reach the limitation of, yo, I cannot be here any longer. I literally gotta suck up my own pride, maybe go back home, man, and go face the demons that are there for real. You feel what I'm saying? So instead of just like listening to that, because there's a wisdom in that. There's a wisdom in just like backtracking your steps, go fixing what you know what I'm saying? What you messed up at. But then, like, you know, there's that emotional irregularity again. Where it's like, nah, dog, that I'm too fucking anxious for that. I'm too damn near having panic attacks about that kind of shit. So now I'll carry on just going through this tough situation where I damn near nearly became a street dweller, bro. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't literally for the kind of family members that I do have, you know what I'm saying? And the kind of close people that I do have, that like, nah, bro, you tripping, bro. Put your pride aside, nigga. Come, let's do it. Like, because again, as I said, I'm a sensitive soul. I get very hot under the collar. So there's certain people that can, like, you know, regulate certain senses of mine and just like calm me down, so that now it's easier for me to humble myself and just like backtrack and correct myself and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So that the importance of even just like not misconstruing things like your emotional balance, bro, about yourself, bro. That shit is mad important. I'm not gonna hold you. Feel what I'm saying? And actually thinking back and reflecting on it right now, reflecting on some of the tough moments, of which that was just like what I broke down right now, that was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Another one, man. Yo, yeah, it's been a lot. Did I do story time segments on this motherfucker? Nah, I'm saying nah. I'll leave that one there, dog. You feel what I'm saying? So, but I'm not gonna lie though. All the things that Buddy mentioned right here, you know what I'm saying? Just not being afraid of like solitude. You feel what I'm saying? Being, you know, having gratitude for going through tough times, having gratitude for actually going through the solitude and learning from those lessons. You feel what I'm saying? Developing identity, your own identity outside of just like an environment that would just influence you into developing what you think you're supposed to see from you think you are? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I said that in a way that you'd get it, but you know, things like that, bro. These lessons, yeah, for sure, you do get those out of, you know, going through tough lessons. You know what I'm saying? But there is a degenerate side of just like that kind of psychology, bro. Is that, you know, you might easily normalize the kind of mindset that you know what I'm saying, tolerates just subpar quality of living. You might inflict that on yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself like a low level of just life experience than what you deserve, all because, you know what I'm saying, a tough situation traumatized you to a point that, you know what I'm saying, you just cannot emotionally regulate your being so that you fall back in line. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just a whole bunch of yap, you know what I'm saying, big yap session that I just regurgitated, not regurgitated, but just like put on to y'all right here. So maybe too much to digest. Let me leave it right there. You know, allow my brother to continue right here. Like a romantic partner is a derivative of the bond that you had with your caregivers, aka your parents, right? That is derived from that. Yes. Talk about it.
And the first one with growing up with a narcissistic abusive parent is I learned that if I couldn't trust my own parent to not hurt me, then I couldn't trust anybody. And I have lived my life with a deep betrayal wound. Walked around for most of my life.
This is a moral of the story in itself. Look, I want to break down something, right? I want to break down something of why this whole thing actually shapes who you actually are. M.O.S. Moral of the story. Let's do it, right? It shapes your whole outlook on just like how you develop relationships, friendships. You feel what I'm saying? How you act in marriage. You feel what I'm saying? Like a union with a lover, union maybe with a business partner, things like this. You know, it plays at your levels of trust, your levels of, you know, feeling comfortable, your levels of loyalty, your levels of, you know, codependency versus independency. You understand what I'm saying? And all of that is a derivative from the connection you had with your parents. You understand what I'm saying? Now, imagine having developed the kind of bond where it's like, yo, it you know, it caused you to just develop a mentality where you decide by yourself that, yo, the first moment I you know, receive to get away from this, I will, at whatever cost. Now think about how that affects the future relationships that you're gonna get into, or the future engagements you're gonna get into. You're gonna treat it the same way. You know what I'm saying? The first sign of just like, you know, conflict, first sign of just like resistance or whatever, you feel what I mean? Like, you're gonna want to run away. You feel me? Whereas the older you get, though, it's like the stronger these bonds have to be through time, through longevity, through the dynamics of us going through things, right? And that does include moments that could give you damn near panic attacks, nigga. But you feel what I'm saying? We're both here. We're both going through this. But a kid like that never understands that, right? They're a runner. They keep running from relationships. You feel what I'm saying? Now, you can, as you develop as a youngin', you feel what I mean, tell yourself that, nah, I need my independence, I need this, that, and the third. It could be a very empowering thing, doing that, telling yourself that at a young age. But then now, the older you get, you'll see that it makes for a shallow life, bro. Fickle life. You don't grow deeper with the people that, or the situations that you just like connect with and engage with. You feel what I'm saying? So you not growing deep, you don't advance more. You don't advance beyond the levels that you may find yourself in terms of relating with others, at the levels at which you relate with others, right? And so, you know what I mean? That's why the you know, me, that's one of the bigger reasons why I advocate for people to not produce broken homes, man. You feel what I'm saying? Yes, I get the whole marriage thing. It's good for the psychology of the man and the woman to be together so that they go through this life thing together, you know what I'm saying, with this responsibility that is the kid, and you know, that makes y'all better human beings, more responsible, you know, morally beneficial, this, that, and the third. It gives you purpose, all of that, you know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it's for the sake of this young one. It's for the sake of this kid, bro. You feel what I'm saying? You can't, you know what I mean? At the same time, do consider the times. The fact of how you were raised. You know what I'm saying? You were just like slapped upside your head. You know what I'm saying? Backside, front side of your head, front, like all type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Being whacked. You know what I'm saying? To the moon and back type shit. But you cannot apply those same kind of like fundamentals now, bro. To a kid who lives now and you give birth to them now, 2025, or who is young now in 2025. You know what I'm saying? Things is different, for example. You know what I'm saying? So, but then people want to keep that same model for everything. And therefore that can have the kid, you know what I mean, alienated. Because now the kid is comparing themselves to their own peers at their own age level. Right? Be like, yo, you live way different from me. Like, what's up? Something is wrong. And then that kid that's being told that something is wrong ends up questioning themselves. Like, yeah, something is wrong. How come my parents treat me so differently from yours and things like that? Some sort of abuse that's going on. Damn. Now I gotta endure this? Fuck no. I gotta be gone by the time I reach 17, 16, nigga, 18. I gotta be out this month. There's kids that, oh my god, there's kids that run away from their families at like younger ages, man. AKA, you know what I'm saying? Celeste Rivas, dog. Celeste Fernandez Rivas, or however that goes. You know what I'm saying? That girl that lost her life, R.I.P. You know, from what we heard about D4VD and the whole situation with David over there. I think she was like out the house at 12, 13, bro, to go gallivant the streets with people like David, and following the tale of David. Like that was clearly an individual, a kid, sadly, that had told themselves, yo, bro, like I don't belong here, bro, and one opportunity I get to just get away, I will. Thank God my boyfriend is a superstar. Thank God my boyfriend, got all this money, blah, blah, blah. Talking about David, probably. You feel what I'm saying? Only for her to reach this kind of fate. Oh my God, bro. Look at this kind of teachable moment. Look at this kind of case study. Do your homework. She was like around 12, bro. With them talking about, yeah, she was like, she'd be gone from the house and da da da. You feel what I'm saying? And, shortly after that, she even, cut going to school. And it's just crazy. It's just damn near traumatic just hearing that kind of thing. Now look at these kind of results, bro. Or because a kid like prematurely decided, yo, I think it would be better for me. You know what I'm saying? To get away from these people that literally gave birth to me, and like, you know what I'm saying? Because of these moments that people don't even talk about. You know what I'm saying? Situations where it's like, yo, I'm your parent, you better shut up. I'm your parent. This is how things is supposed to be. This is how I was raised. This is how, you know what I'm saying? I'm your parent, you shut up. You know what I'm saying? At that point, when will it be like, considered something to consider or think about or talk about? You know what I'm saying? The fact that parents can be bullying their kids too, bruh. Just because it's your, you know what I'm saying? But then now, that would require you to just look at the standard of how the rest of society is supposed to be parenting their kids. And you know what I mean? And it's like, but then again, look, it's a balancing act, bro. It's a balancing act, bro, because this kid is also a human being. This kid is not only just gonna exist around you as their parent. They're gonna exist around like a whole bunch of schoolmates, classmates, sports teammates, this, that, and the third, man. Just like, neighborhood mates, like. So the standards of the public is gonna affect this youngin, and how you know what I'm saying, the standards of the public with contrast to how your standards of how you raise this kid. Those dynamics are gonna paint a bigger picture where it's like, damn, I think the world is right. These niggas is tripping. I've actually been abused. Da da da. Although we do have situations where people, there are people that were raised and they saw their family dynamics. They were like, nah, this is normal. This is how we came up. For me, this is love. You feel what I'm saying? But then I want you to look at the power of like that kid's mind, bro, and how it look at the point where you get a kid that can look at all the degeneracies and all the traumas that you inflicted on them, and then override that and still see the love and still see at that point, you like, that's a cherry on top. You have a blessing of a kid right there. You know what I'm saying? How they learned these lessons and how they can still give you love and look back and say, bro, my childhood was not in the slightest traumatic, bro. And this shit was like worse than the Holocaust. Let me not even say things like on GTA. Holocaust on GTA. You know what I'm saying? You're nervous saying, certain words here. But you know what I'm saying? You can get like a kid that can just like learn those kind of lessons. But then you can get a kid that can go through that same childhood that you went through and be like, nah, this is not it. This is hell itself. And literally exhibit these kind of realities where things are chaotic and blah blah blah, and I feel like once we get to that point, it's like you just see the uncontrollable nature, or I'd say the nature of the free will, right? I don't know, but then again, like that kind of independence. Okay, I'm lazy to read that whole little section that C got opened over there, right? But really, bro, if you know what I'm saying, if it all boils down to this one artist, DRAKE, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, if it all boils down to this guy and just the effects of everything that has played around the industry of hip hop, that has played around the culture of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Ever since after, the one biggest beef that we come from, right? It's like, I think homies like now look at that and they see how, everything that's associated with, as I said, bro, the corniness, bro, and the now, niggas are seeing new things that are being done that, these were not supposed to be part of the code of the culture when we're talking hip hop and rap and beef and this, that, and the third. Niggas turn into police, niggas turn into the feds, niggas turn into, you know what I'm saying, they want to run to authorities when certain things are revealed about them and this, that, and the third. Yes, Sean C already just pointed this out. Niggas have done worse things. You feel what I'm saying? Niggas have like sold narcotics, you know what I'm saying? Niggas have built brands off of selling narcotics, being the, looking up to, these legends of old. Well, people that are attached to these legends of old, like these drug kingpins, drug lords, da da da. A whole lot of imagery in your music about just like Godfather this, that, and the third, and just like, flooding the whole town in snow with the. Okay, I did not mean to do that. Homie literally has like these sniffs that he does on It's Almost Dry. Bro, It's Almost Dry was actually one of this guy's hardest. I was listening to it like literally like I think 2 months ago now. I still got it on my device. Like that shit is still Hey man, shout out Pharrell, bro. Like I know he was like one of the producers that like cooked that up. Like crazy. It's Almost Dry. What? And that other one that had the 7 songs that was like part of like the series that Good Music was dropping, where each artist like was dropping 7 song projects. Like that shit, Pusha's version of that shit was too crazy. That's too dumb. You know what I'm saying? But then look at that whole thing. Like even him using that sniff that I just did there awkwardly. My bad. Look, I'm gonna work on this, toning down the animatedness. You know what I'm saying? In my character, I'm gonna work on a soundboard so that none of this awkward shit has to happen. My bad. My fault. So he has all like these little sniffs, suggesting that this guy is really into this drug thing, like real crazy. Like this nigga would swear by it. This nigga die on that hill, bruh, type. Now it's like, like niggas been on much more devious, dark, like the most degenerate things that people could like just like think of. You feel what I'm saying? And it's because of that kind of degeneracy that, and I'm not only taking, directing what I'm saying only to Push, right? But like the whole hip hop, the whole rap community, the whole thing, man, the whole culture like has been associated with a whole lot of degeneracy. Yes, there is a whole lot of good that came out of the culture. Don't get me wrong. A whole lot of lives have been changed. A whole lot of impact has been felt throughout the whole world, man. Throughout, you know what I'm saying? Like, across genres, you know what I'm saying? That's the influence of this thing. But then it's like, yo, there's a certain level of degeneracy that has always been associated with hip-hop culture, hip-hop music, rap, that is, whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of characteristics like these. The whole drug thing, the whole bodies, this, that, and the drill, this, that, and the third. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? And then now that, you know, Drake went about this whole thing in a way that you did, like, I mean, I get the fact that you're pushing, like, what, 50? Pusha is pushing 50, right? Pusha pushing 50, huh? Pusha pushing 50, huh? Hey, look, I don't, wait, you know what? Let me just make sure of that shit, bro. Before, like, I make myself look like a clown, you know what I'm saying, with that little bar that I just threw in there. Pusha T's age, right? I'll let you know why I'm asking that shit.
Hi there, Seasway.
Yo, how old is Pusha T? You.
Oh, I see you're hanging out on a bit of a news hub here. Looks like we've got...
How old is Pusha T, Your Honor? Fuck.
So, as of 2025, Pusha T is 48 years old.
48, pushing 50, pushing 50, huh? Oh, hey. Look, all I'm saying is that, okay, I get the fact that you are at the age where it's like, yo, like your tolerance for just like things that you used to just like be competitive against back in the day and be like, yeah, man, we gotta pack that up. I get the fact that you're at an age where it's like, nah, bro, my tolerance for this shit is done. You know what? Look, let me just express how I feel about this shit, right? It's done with this thing, right? All because Arby was like, yo, what the fuck? I'm just like trying to protect my own name, nigga. Yeah, I'm lawsuiting it up, bro. Like, it's like, what? And I'm like, okay, I'm just only speculating. That's what maybe is got Pusha thinking, man, hip hop has gotten this weak. Hip hop has gotten this embarrassing. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how the man feels about whatever happened with this, you know, with the recent beef. Feel me? I don't know, maybe allegation culture, maybe allegation nature is what irks Push, but like, what, maybe untrue allegations. But Drake was not false in what he, okay, like how he twisted it and how he painted the imagery and, you know, the bars within the songs, of which is what got you know, Drake all sour and shit. You know, those bars, like he really cranked it. He really turned it up right there. He really turned up the frying. You know what I mean? But like that's part of like what has to be in a beef song, bro. We beefing, nigga. What? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he wasn't off, bro. In terms of, yo, this nigga been, you know, we know his nature with like women. You know, his risky, let me just say his risky behavior. So I feel like, you know, in that sense, like K-Dot was not 100%, but like he you know, he accused, well, truthfully, yeah, he revealed Drake's son. So I guess with him it was not an allegation, it was the truth. You know, and with the recent beef, it was nothing but allegations because nothing was really solidified like that. It was just street code. It was just the streets that gave the crown and gave the, you know, solidity. And yeah, this one is the solid one and blah, blah, blah. It was the streets, right, that did that. But none of these allegations were like, yeah, bruh, goddamn, this nigga, this, then the third. I mean, even with the daughter allegations too, like, you know, I guess all that shit just like irked Pusha off, bruh. Like, man, I ain't got no tolerance for this kind of bullshit no more, bro. Facts. You know what I mean? So let me just like let it rip and tell the game how I feel about it and see how we move on from this point.